Good evening and welcome to the Eastville Crime Watch and Reporting Show. We are so glad that you are tuning in tonight. We have a pretty good show in store for you tonight. Hopefully we've worked through some of our audio issues from last week. I apologize for the echoey sound that we had. For some reason we just couldn't identify it, and we even did some tests beforehand and after. But tonight hopefully we've got it all better, and I'm sure that you guys will leave feedback for me. Hey, this is a show that we come to you once a week and we tell you about things going on in the city of Eastville and the surrounding areas. Last year before the pandemic, we had a lot of great guests on, everywhere from the school district to JCSD to the vector control to the fire department, you name it. And we're going to be doing that again this year. We're going to be bringing up things that are interesting to you as the community. So tonight, one of our paramount things that we do in our city is Eastville Neighborhood Watch, and we've been recognized from a number of different sheriffs, a number of different law enforcement agencies by how unique our program is, and we want to share a little bit about that with you tonight. Hey, if you haven't had a chance, please subscribe on our YouTube channel. How we're broadcasting now is we're broadcasting through YouTube, through the Eastville Crime Watch and Reporting page group, as well as the Eastville Crime Watch and Reporting page and the Neighborhood Watch page. And the reason we're doing that on YouTube is so that more viewers have the ability to see the show and be able to participate that may not be a member of Facebook. I see we have a lot of viewers tuning in on all the different platforms right now. We're up to about 30, 40 different people, 35 right now. And if you want, give us a like. We appreciate it. And tonight, I'm happy to tell you we have two pretty amazing guests on. These gentlemen have been with the Neighborhood Watch program from the beginning. It's basically the brainchild that was developed together at the coffee shop over at Starbucks. And tonight we want to recap what our Neighborhood Watch program's like, what it's all about, and how you can be part of the solution. So tonight I have with me former mayor, former city councilman Brandon Plott, and current city councilman Todd Rigby. But tonight they are Neighborhood Watch representatives, and I'd like to welcome them both to the show. Brandon, Todd, good evening. Welcome.
Good evening, Don. Good seeing you, my man.
Brandon, great seeing you. Todd, good seeing you.
Good evening. Good to see you. Thanks for having us, Don. Really appreciate it.
Thank you very much for being on. So far, I haven't seen any comments coming in about an echo or anything like that, so I think we're off to a better start than we were last week. So, Brandon, I remember you made the phone calls to start this all out. You want to give the community a little update how Neighborhood Watch was birthed?
Yeah, no, I definitely will. I'll try to make it quick. Basically, how it all started out was during it was campaigning back in 2016, and one of the things we wanted to address was public safety. But I wanted to come up with kind of an organic way to where how the residents could be involved in the success of the public safety of our city. And so I had reached out to Todd, who coincidentally was campaigning for in a different district at that time, and we started kind of sharing ideas. And he had very similar ideas to the Neighborhood Watch program, and we had a way of looking at the Neighborhood Watch program differently than the traditional Neighborhood Watch program, and that was really building an infrastructure organization behind the captains that would be captains for their neighborhoods and their quote-unquote zones. And where Neighborhood Watch kind of originally is just kind of very arbitrary at the goodness of the heart of the residents, but there's no support for it. And that's what we chose differently. We treat it like an organization that try to measure the success of the watch by certain variables, certain metrics. And more importantly, there's really the big backbone of support for captains, and to know when some neighborhoods where they lose captains or they don't have any, when we keep trying to find the fill-in captain. So there's always somebody and groups of people that can be communicated to protect intimately protect their specific neighborhoods.
Wow, that's a great summation in less than a minute. Todd, would you like to add anything to that?
I think we're pretty much done for the night with that, but no, Brandon did a great job with that. It is very crucial because the Neighborhood Watch program has actually been around for a long time. It's not something that's new, but it's something that's been around for a long time. Even the sheriff's department locally has had it for a long time. But we know that there needs to be a backbone to it. There needs to be more of a support. system to the neighborhood watch program. That's what we found out with this. We decided to make more of a support system, I guess you would say, and that's what we created, and what through our residents, and the success of our residents, is we've created that support system through the neighborhood watch program.
Very, very good. So right now we have 29 different neighborhoods. I'm getting a lot of great information about our sound and everything. A lot are saying it sounds good. A couple people said they hear a little bit of white noise, and someone said they hear a river. So, but I don't think we have the large echoing that we had last time. So we'll see how this progresses, and we continue to move through. So I think you guys gave a great recap of everything, of how neighborhood watch is. We have 29 different zones. Todd, Brandon, tell us a little bit about how the captains meetings work.
Yeah, so what we do, and this is kind of explaining more of the support structure of the neighborhood watch, is really through what we call the quarterly captain meetings. And so what it does is, if you represent a captain of a neighborhood, of a particular neighborhood watch, and we'll probably go into this later, we would definitely like more than just one captain. We'll take 7, 8 captains for one neighborhood. And so what we do is we meet on a quarterly basis, all the captains that represent every zone. We meet, and there we're able to give kind of instruction, maybe set goals or follow up on projects and goals that we may have. Some of those projects that have been completed were, the neighborhood watch signs at every entry exit point of your neighborhood, or the camera database program. Those are projects that were really facilitated by the neighborhood watch captains to ensure the success of those many projects. So, that's really the goal. It's to talk about maybe issues that are in our community, talk about how we can resolve, but also to really give objectives, some goals. So it's not just talk about things, but we have action and we have projects. And once we complete them, we try to find something else that betters our neighborhood. And so, in a nutshell, that's kind of what it's about.
Very good. So, Todd, tell us a little bit. Have you had any feedback from any of the prior captains or chiefs of police that report to City Council about the neighborhood watch, what their thoughts are on it?
So it all starts with our captains, and it starts with what they do and how they lead their community, and how they lead their neighborhood watch group, and how involved they get their neighborhood watch group. So the captains are crucial, and there's been captains that have been very active, and there's been captains that have not been as active. There's been captains that strategize and do things a little bit differently, do more of a community get-together, neighborhood get-together, and there's captains that do specific neighborhood watch meetings. So the goal is just to get people together a little bit more, to get people to know each other, to get people to watch out for each other. If we got feedback from the captains, yes, and it's awesome, because once we see that the captains are more involved, their neighborhood watch group is more involved. When their neighborhood watch group is more involved, their entire neighborhood just feels more connected. We've also heard from our local, not only our lieutenant who acts as our chief of police, but our previous captain. We originally started this with Captain Hedge, who was somewhat hesitant when it first started, and he even admitted that he was going out on a limb by letting us kind of take the head on it and seeing where it was going. After we put this up and got this running, he was very impressed, and he said, "You know what? I couldn't have been more pleased with you guys doing this." And it's continued on with Lieutenant Martin, with Lieutenant Boyd currently, but not only our local lieutenants, our local captains, we've also talked to our sheriff about it, Sheriff Chad Bianco, who has mentioned our neighborhood watch program. Other leadership in the sheriff's department has mentioned our neighborhood watch program throughout the entire county. There have been other cities that have also contacted us wanting to mirror what we're doing and try and see if they can have the same success in their community as we have had it here in our community. So I feel lucky to be a part of this program, that we have been a model to not only our local city, but our local sheriff's department, as well as local cities around us, adjacent cities that have seen this and have seen the success of the neighborhood watch program that we've done here in the city of Eastville. But the ultimate thing is the success is truly because of the residents. And I think we'll go into a little bit about that tonight, how it's been successful. But it's truly because of residents, not because of what Brandon, Don, or I is doing. It's truly the residents that have made this successful.
Very good. So, Brandon, would you like to add anything to that?
No, I think Todd said it well. I think at the end of the day, one of the things that Todd said earlier is if we were to truly try to make a consistent goal of the neighborhood watch program, it's really to get to know your residents. the more people that just simply know each other and get more comfortable with each other and know their surroundings and know the people in their neighborhood, it's good because we can do a lot of heavy crime prevention at that point. Because again, you just have more eyes, people are more aware of what's going on, they know each other. And if we can simply just do that task, I think that's ultimately the goal. But again, we can talk about these kind of small little projects that we do to kind of enhance our neighborhoods a little better, and some ways to kind of help decrease the crime. That's within our control as far as residents. We all do that as well. But again, a simplistic way to look at it is just, this is a platform to get to know your neighbors better, and hopefully to know your neighbors.
Absolutely. So we really have gone out to 29 different neighborhoods, and we have had a neighborhood watch meeting in every one of those neighborhoods. And we've averaged anywhere from 30 to 40 neighbors coming out to these neighborhood meetings. And the last record shows that we've met almost 2,000 residents at neighborhood watch meetings over our captain's meetings, when we had the big meeting in the park, the year-end celebration, everything like that. And through that, we're always trying to develop new things to put us one step ahead to be able to keep our community safe. And one of those things that we talked a little bit about last week with Lieutenant Boyd, and I'm going to ask Todd to share a little bit more tonight, is about the camera database and exactly what that is and how it's utilized. Todd, can you go into that?
Yeah, for sure. Thank you. So when a crime happens and there's a suspect involved in the crime at a specific location, one of the things that law enforcement tries to do is they want to get as much information and description about the suspect's vehicle, whatever it is. And a lot of what's helping us in our community is we have a lot of residents that have cameras on the outside of their home. If it's a Ring, if it's a Vivint, any other type of security camera, or even if it's Costco cameras that are outside your home. And that helps to provide amazing information for our law enforcement when there's a crime that occurs in the area. But the only downside to that is sometimes these crimes happen during the day when we're all at work, or sometimes they happen at night when we aren't around. And it's very difficult for law enforcement, as they're investigating the crime, to contact the individual that has that footage, and that they can provide that to law enforcement. So what we did is we thought, okay, how can we help to expedite that to our law enforcement? So between the three of us, we thought about it. We said, what if we come up with a camera database system where people can enter their contact information? Once again, their contact information, not information to log in and access their cameras, but their contact information, and we can provide that to law enforcement. So for instance, we've had a couple of situations over the years where right now we still have access to, or we still manage that system. We're in the process of trying to transition that directly to the Sheriff's Department. But when a crime happens, typically at the time it was Lieutenant Martin and now Lieutenant Boyd, they would contact me specifically. They would say, hey Todd, a crime happened on Peach Blossom, and between this street and this street, are there any cameras there? And I would send them the contact information. I'd say, yes, Don Pettinger has a camera. Here's his email address. Here's his phone number. And they would contact Don, and they would say, hey, Don, there was a crime that occurred. Can we come by and take a look at your camera? They're not accessing his information. They are contacting Don to ask if they can contact, or if they can view his data, view his footage, and they can get whatever they need to off of it. That system that we have done has been very successful. I like to say it's been so successful that the Sheriff's Department has not only used it in our city, but they have also started to create their own database that they use throughout the entire county. So I always hear that the best form of flattery is copying, and we're more than welcome to have that. That makes us as not only as a city, but as a county state. So I am grateful that they have taken that system. They continue to use that, and we continue to build off of it. If you have not entered your contact information into that database, please do so. It's in the Eastville Crime Watch. If you just look it up, it'll be under camera database or neighborhood watch database, and you can enter your contact information in there so that if a crime happens in your neighborhood, that they can contact you and they can set up a time to come and view your footage.
Excellent. So what we will do is in the show notes today, we'll make sure that we get a copy of that link, so that if your cameras aren't registered, we really ask you to please do that. Every second they can save in researching a crime, the more of a chance they have of catching the bad guy. And we've heard last week from Lieutenant Boyd, we know from Lieutenant Martin, that who's now Captain Martin, congratulations, that these camera database research things that we have done have truly helped, and they've made a difference in our city. Brandon, can you talk a little bit about the captain selection, and if somebody's really interested in stepping up to be a captain for their neighborhood, how should they go about doing that?
Yeah, no, great question, Don. And this is something where, I kind of do a lot of work in is really trying. I mean, when we meet quarter with the captain's meeting, every quarter, I'm usually trying to reach out to the captains to say, hey, who's still a captain, who's not. We're always in need of captains. Even if the Neighborhood Watch group has 3 captains, take more. The more the merrier. The more support that we can get, the better. And basically, if you're a captain, or if you're a resident that says, hey, I want to be a captain in our neighborhood, you can reach out to any one of 3 of us. Preferably, I'd rather you reach out to me. Just typically, I like to facilitate those things, and I already have the database in front of me. I can get in contact with the existing captains of your neighborhood, let them know that you want to be a captain, and as long as you're willing to go to the quarterly captain meetings, you're active on the Facebook page of that particular Neighborhood Watch page, absolutely, I'm more than willing to welcome you in as a captain and introduce you to the already existing captains of your Neighborhood Watch. There's definitely certain neighborhoods that lack a number of captains. We'd love to try to recruit more, and there's some that definitely have a lot. But again, we're always willing, as long as you're willing to just be a part of it, and willing to take that meeting once a quarter. And right now it's been Zoom, but I think from now on we're going to start doing in-person meetings back at City Hall. As long as you're willing to do that and and be able to moderate the Facebook page, your private Facebook, your Neighborhood Watch Facebook page, and be willing to have a meeting every annually. It's pretty simple. I mean, it's that, and you'll have the support of us and other captains that will kind of tell you what's been successful, what's not. So yeah, please, we welcome anybody, and we'd love you. And feel free to reach out to me as well, or Don or Todd.
So, Captain, if you're a potential captain, we want you to know that we do respect your time, and that's why we only do 4 meetings a year, and we try to keep those meetings jam-packed from the minute you walk in to the minute you leave. It's information that you can trust, information that no one else is getting or you're getting first, because we really want to reward you for the things that you're doing for our community. We try to keep the meetings no longer than an hour and a half. We usually shoot for an hour. Once a year, we do a potluck with all the captains, and we just have a great time. Some of our past speakers have been, the city manager. We bring the mayor in. We've had the sheriff. Both sheriffs have come and spoke to our captains. The lieutenant who oversees us as the chief of police, the person in charge of our community enhancement, Johnny. So we give you an opportunity as a captain to talk to people firsthand and find out information or share your concerns so that they're able to be addressed in a quick way. Yeah, go ahead, Brandon.
Yeah, one other thing too about what's really nice if you want to become a captain is you get in this like-minded scenario where you get to meet other captains that truly care about their city, their neighborhood. And so you really meet people that are proactive, that really want the best for the community. And that kind of resonates when you start sharing that among other people and other captains. You start to kind of involve yourself with other people that just naturally, genuinely are good people and want the best for their neighborhood. And like I said, I think our captains are great. I love our captains. I think they're a great group of people, and they truly want the best interest. So it's definitely good people to associate. It's definitely an opportunity to make new friends as well. So that's the way I kind of look at it.
Absolutely. So one of the things that we are rolling out, and we're always trying to find new ways to keep us safe, it's like us against the bad guys, is we're starting a thing called Operation ID. And Operation ID, we've come up with these little red kits that are going to start becoming available on June 1st in City Hall, where you can go in and check them out. And inside is basically a Dremel, and you're able to go through and ID all of your different property. There will also be a link to a fillable PDF form that you can go in and inventory your property. Say your kid's bicycle's out in the yard. The way that you would ID those is you would put your driver's license number on the bottom and then CA, And it's important to put CA for California, or if you have a Texas driver's license, TX or whatever it happens to be, because when they find it, that's the international or the regional and national way they look things up. They'll see the driver's license number, they look at the state, and they'll be able to find get property back to you. Let me give you an example. Catalytic converter. We've heard about a lot of thefts, but then we look on TV and we see hundreds of catalytic converters being found, or when bad guys are caught, but there's no way for the sheriff's department to return those to you because you have no positive ID that that's yours. But if you go underneath, ID it with one of these, and they find your number on there, you're going to be able to get this back. And so these will be available at City Hall. We'll have a few of them there. There's also a stencil inside, so if you're not good at freehand, you can stencil your name on different things. The Dremels work on plastic, they work on metal, they work on wood, and there'll also be the PDF fill out. We will also have these magnets there for you. They're helpful City of Eastvale magnets. They kind of have all the emergency phone numbers listed, so you can easily put these up. I know one of the big things we continually see on the page, hey, what's the non-emergency number to the Sheriff's Department? And it's the top of it's at the top of the crime page, and it's the top of every neighborhood watch page. It shows the emergency number. But we have that here along with the school district, Chamber of Commerce, City Hall, and the parks and JCSD and the Chamber of Commerce. So these will be available for folks also, and we want to start getting those out to all of you. Todd, anything else you want to add to this?
So the true success of the Neighborhood Watch program is not any one specific thing other than the neighbors being involved. So I can't stress that enough. Of you being involved, getting to know your neighbors. It's the whole see something, say something. Don't be afraid to say something. Don't be afraid to call 911 or the non-emergency line. Let the professionals deal with whatever you see. But it's a matter of us coming together. We have to come together for community. We have to watch out for one another. And that's truly what the Neighborhood Watch program is we come together through our meetings, we get to know each other through our meetings, but then we get to watch each other's neighborhood, and we get to watch each other's homes to make sure that our area is safe. We were recently announced as the 29th safest neighborhood in the state, number 2 in the county. I want to see that continue to go up, and I think we can. I think if we continue to stress the Neighborhood Watch program, continue to stress the safety that we have here, and continue to be involved. It takes all of us to be involved. We can't just be one people. We can't just rely on our law enforcement. We have a great law enforcement through our sheriff's department. They do a fantastic job, and I appreciate everything that they do. All the men and women that are there. We also have a huge law enforcement presence of just residents here. So I appreciate all that they do. But it takes all of us to be involved. We all have to be involved in keeping our community safe. So if you're not involved, please do so. This is your invitation. Get involved in your Neighborhood Watch program. If you're interested in being a captain, contact us. Brandon, like you said, is the one that handles a majority of that. But it takes all of us to keep our community safe.
Absolutely. So we want to, I know this may sound simplistic to many of you, and say you'll say, no duh, but let us kind of review some. If you come home and you had your car was broken into, that's a non-emergency. The first thing you want to do is look at and gather as much information as you can. Call the non-emergency phone number to RSO, and they'll tell you they're probably going to send a deputy out to take a report. If you see a crime in action, somebody's breaking into your neighbor's house, you see someone getting beat up, that is a 911 call immediately. The first thing you want to do, get the sheriff's department on the line, continue to be a good witness so that you're able to articulate this to the sheriff's department and whoever the dispatcher is on the phone if they're keeping you on the line. Once you've been a good witness, once you've fully reported the crime, then you can post it on the crime page and on the neighborhood page. Those are the orders that we want you to follow. If there is a perimeter being formed by law enforcement, please do not post pictures of that, because we do not want to endanger any of our law enforcement. And it's very crucial that you help us with that. If there's administrators on the crime page or any of the neighborhood watch pages, and you do, we'll delete those pictures in order for officer safety to be maintained. But that's pretty much the order that you would follow. And whenever we're posting anything, we want to make sure we just articulate the facts so that we're able to share, to be able to provide information to the sheriff's department. Now, sometimes something may seem suspicious and you call it in. And I'm going to have Brandon tell you a story about not taking yourself too serious. Brandon.
All right. Well, for those that have heard the story already, I apologize for the redundancy, but it's a good one. Yeah, don't take yourself too seriously. When you post, it might be, someone you're posting might be someone that you're posting about on accident. It might be a neighbor, a family. That might look suspicious. If it's a family member on accident, those things happen. So I'll share a story. There was an incident that happened right when we started the Neighborhood Watch program. And an incident happened in my neighborhood where they put it on the Facebook, our Neighborhood Watch Facebook page, specific to our group, and they said, hey, someone just threw a bottle through our sliding store, like a beer bottle, and it broke. And so I was about a block and a half down, so I just got in my car and started driving to see if anything suspicious. And I didn't really find anything, but as I looked, there's the threads in a post. And all of a sudden it says, hey, real suspicious activity, black Jeep Grand Cherokee, this license plate. And I'm looking, I'm like, oh, what? Okay. I look at it, I'm like, oh, wait a minute, that's me. And so, of course, just heads up, don't be offended at that. It happened to me. And I looked at this suspicious person, and I was always just trying to help. So take things lightly. Know that if people got eyes out at the good things in the neighborhood, they're looking out for you. And don't take anything too personal if someone might think you or your mother-in-law or father-in-law is suspicious of something that happened. And even though there's good intentions there, it's just good to know that people have eyes out and are concerned for their neighbors and their people. So I just wanted to share that with y'all.
Great.
Hey,
so
John,
go ahead, Todd. Yes, sir.
Can I add on to that?
Please.
The one thing with that is Brandon took that very well. Brandon could have gone the opposite way. He could have gotten upset. Why are you, saying I'm suspicious? Why are you? And we've seen that quite a bit lately on different posts that people are sharing information, and then sometimes the post starts to go sideways. I just want to remind people, just please be respectful. Everyone's trying to keep our community safe. Don't start attacking someone. Don't start getting on to them for sharing something. That's what the moderators are for. They'll handle that. If it's out of hand, they'll handle that. But just be respectful. Because what happens when we aren't, then next time something happens to that person, they're afraid to share it. And they're afraid to share maybe some crucial information that could have helped another person in the community stay safe. So make sure that we're all adults on the social media, that we're all being respectful, and that we're all utilizing it for the reason that it's there, is to keep our community safe.
Excellent point. So one of the other things that makes Neighborhood Watch successful is some of the additional layers that we're trying to add to it. One of the big things before we went out on the pandemic was we're trying to get people from each neighborhood certified, which is community emergency response trained. That's to be able to help each other in the event of an emergency such as an earthquake. And we got off to a great start. Pandemic slowed it down. We're going to be bringing that back. I'm working with Johnny in community enhancement about the next date that's going to come up. And we'd like to get you involved and get you registered for those classes so that you can help your neighbors in the event of emergency. Another thing that we're looking at that we talked a little bit about Lieutenant Boyd last week is the volunteer program. The Sheriff's Department has a formalized volunteer program that we would love you to be involved with. The city is also exploring creating their own volunteer program, and I know Herb on our Public Safety Commission is really looking at that and trying to figure out ways to do that it supports the Sheriff's Department, doesn't step outside of their mission, but continues to get us involved. And then the final step that we're really trying to look at is to create a ham radio net, that if something happens and cell phones go down, ham radios could still be there. I'm going to let Todd talk a few seconds about that, about how we're trying to get things together, and maybe you can email Todd or I if you are a licensed operator. Todd, I'm sorry, I'm putting you on the spot on this one.
No, it's all right. So a few years ago, there was an earthquake that happened, just a small little earthquake, and I was driving down the 71 to Anaheim Hills, and I knew that there was the earthquake, and I tried to call my wife, and I could not get a hold of her at all. All the phones were jammed. I couldn't get a hold of her. It was probably an hour and a half later until I was finally able to get a hold of her. And like I said, that was a number of years ago. But that really put in perspective to me of how important ham radio is, how important it is to stay connected during emergencies. And it's only a matter of time before we have an emergency that something like that will happen. And we need to be prepared for that. Right now, with one of our neighborhood watch chapters, we're starting a ham radio net, and it's Sundays at 9 o'clock. And I'll have to post the frequency later. But for anyone that is a ham radio operator in the city, contact Don or I, and we can get you that information. You can participate in these weekly nets. And what it is just to check your equipment. Make sure that you're ready so that when that time does happen, that your equipment's up and ready to go and you're able to connect.
I'll have to listen to the...
We'll have a number...
I was going to say I have to listen... Go ahead, Todd. Sorry. Go ahead.
I was just going to say that the hope is that we'll have a number of ham radio operators in each neighborhood watch so that eventually we can have a structure that we're reporting back up to the city through our neighborhood watch captains and through the neighborhood watch operators for each individual neighborhood through the CERT program. So it's all coming together and all revolves around the neighborhood watch program.
Very good. Brandon, you have any closing comments?
Yeah, I do. So just something real simple, and Don, maybe if you could, if you can post the map with the legend on it, the map of basically of all the zones. If you're somebody that wants to be a captain, just reach out to me directly on Facebook. You can message me on Facebook. But if you're someone that just is a resident that says, hey, I don't even know what neighborhood watch I belong to, take a look at the map that'll be posted. I imagine on Facebook after this interview. Look at the legend, look at the name, look at where you live in the map, and basically relate that to what neighborhood watch you're in. And there'll be a legend that'll tell you, hey, I'm in the Lancelot or the Devonshire neighborhood. Take that information and write in, like if you live in Lancelot, type in Lancelot neighborhood watch in the search engine of your Facebook page, and you'll see that it'll auto-correct it, auto-spell it, and you'll be able to find that, and invite yourself to be a member of that page. There'll be, I think, just 1 or 2 questions that'll be asked and the moderators will accept you once upon answering those questions. It's a very easy way. I wanted to use that in the most simplistic way, because I imagine we're going to have some viewers that are probably not even members of the Neighborhood Watch program, but may be a part of that, and welcome them. So.
Absolutely. Great. Todd, closing comments.
I just want to say thank you to our Neighborhood Watch captains and to our residents. You're, like I said before, you're having involved, the more success that we have within this program. So thank you for everyone being involved, and if you're not involved, get involved. Thank you.
Thank you. Todd, Brandon, I can't thank you enough for being on the show tonight and really going over what Neighborhood Watch is all about. And we really need you to be part of the solution as a community. Sign up in the show notes here. We will put a copy of the map and the legend for all of you to see. In addition, if you're already on the crime page and you do a search, you will definitely find it. We're getting some great comments here. We have one Facebook user who says, great idea. We need more CERT members in our city. It's an excellent program. Yes, it is. We couldn't agree more with you. And the great thing is it doesn't cost you anything to go. And you get a parting gift. You get a great backpack, a hard hat, and all those wonderful things that you can take with you. So unfortunately, if there were a disaster, you would be able to help. Another great comment we have here from Alex is, thank you guys for everything you do and taking the time to talk to the community. It's just like our city manager, Brian Jones, says, we're a unity, and that's what it's all about. We're trying to get everybody involved with whatever their specialty is so that we can be proud of the city of Eastville and make it a neighborhood that we want to raise our families in. And it's an honor for us to be able to serve. And I know Brandon and Todd would say the same thing. C says, thank you, Todd, Don, Brandon, for sharing this invaluable information. And we can't thank you enough for watching. One of the things I do want to remind you is to please subscribe to the YouTube channel. There could be times Facebook is down or Facebook may block a post for whatever reason. We can always get things out on YouTube. And the great thing about YouTube is anyone can view our videos and learn from the different things. You know what? Also, if there's someone that you would like to hear from, in City Hall or city government or in the neighborhood or communities, let me know. Put a comment in the notes and say, hey, you know what, I'd really like to know about the development that's taking place over here, and I'll try to get somebody from the Planning Commission on. I'll try to get a council member on or the city manager, and we can talk directly about those things. And you can go straight to the horse's mouth to be able to get that information. But I can't thank you enough for tuning in tonight to the Eastvale Crime Watch and Reporting Page show. We really try to make this a place where you get information that you can trust, and it's right from the source. And the only way we're going to continue to grow as an amazing community that others want to come and be part of is by working together and respecting our neighbors. I consider myself blessed every day to live in such a wonderful neighborhood. And I tell you what, I live on a cul-de-sac, and I would not trade any of my 18 neighbors for anything in the world. I'm truly blessed with all of them. And the reason for that is I know all 18 of my neighbors, and I challenge you to use Common Core math and do 2 + 2 = 5. That's where you know your neighbor on the left and the right, front and the back, and yourself equals 5 people in your new community. And if we do that throughout all the blocks, just think of how far ahead we will be as a community. Thank you so much for tuning in tonight. We will let you know real soon who the guest is going to be next week. And thanks so much. Stay safe and have a wonderful evening.